All right, thank you for tuning in to the Bears Den with Coach Steve Schmidt. The Mott Bears men's basketball team finished 16-5 overall, finished 5th in the nation last year in the national tournament. Coach Schmidt led the Bears to the tournament for the 10th time, and the Bears finished, like I said, 5th nationally. He was named Coach of the Year by the BCAM. He has 753 victories in 30 seasons, the most ever in Michigan collegiate basketball history. He has 32 victories in Division II, which is also a record. Coach, having finished the year, a short and crazy season with a record of 6-5 and a deep run into the bracket, on paper, it looks like you should have an easy year to duplicate, but we know that's never easy. You have 9 returning players from last year. How are you going to build on last year's team success?
Well, we had an interesting year last year where we kind of hit a speed bump 2/3 the way through the season, lost a couple in a row. We had all these challenges, as did every team, with the COVID and testing. We tested probably more than most of the schools did, but it was a year that I don't think as a coach or as these guys as players will ever experience again, and we just wanted to get back to normal. You mentioned the 16-5. We went on a great run towards the end. Got to playing well. Where a team was number 1 ranked team in the country. They had beaten us pretty good towards the end of the season. Then in the tournament, where it's single elimination, we went to their place and returned the favor, so to speak, and really put a number on Ancilla and beat them soundly. And then we used that momentum to go to the national tournament because only one school qualifies. And we went and lost in the quarterfinal to DMAC, Des Moines Area Community College, which ended up we had the lead at halftime. We were tied with 3 minutes to go, and we lost by 6. They ended up winning the championship. We won 2 more games against really good teams to finish 5th in the country. So, in our experiences, 10 times there, we've always made it to the final day, which is unprecedented. We've won 4 national championships, which is unprecedented at our level, and we've had 3 times runner-up. So I think we're going to be a very experienced team, build on last year with 9 players back, and really they were our top 9. We added 2 transfers. We're going to be a deep team. We're going to be an experienced team. I think a very talented team, maybe a little bit undersized, but we're pretty athletic. So I know the expectations are to get back, and we expect to compete for a national championship. But it's going to be tough enough winning our conference because our conference is loaded. There's some top 15 teams in our conference. So we understand that. And it's going to be a process, but hopefully we'll get a little bit back more to normal. And last year was crazy.
Well, having 9 players returning and having achieved that much success, is that a challenge? Is it tough to keep those kids motivated going into the season, or did that just light their fire for something even greater and this season gets underway?
I don't think it's a challenge to motivate them. I think what they are is a little bit more mature, hopefully a little bit more focused. I think it's going to be a challenge to keep everyone understanding that this is a process they're going to play. We're not going to have a defined 5 guys. I probably have 8 guys that could start our first game, and I think that will change as to how guys are working, how they're handling off the court type things, the academic part of it. But no, I think last year I had as much fun as I've had in quite a while because the chemistry on the team was so good. A couple years ago, I couldn't say that, and it seemed like every day there was another little drama here, drama there, and it just got old. It got old. I enjoyed coaching that team last year more than I've enjoyed coaching teams in a while because they respected each other, and the distractions were minimal, and they kind of made it fun for my staff and me to coach them. And we have great fan support, which couldn't come to our games early, but then they could watch them on the live stream, and we really got great support, even though they were watching as opposed to being in the stands. Now they can come back in the stands.
Well, that's great. Well, sitting to your right is first-team All-American guard Andre Bradford. Coach, tell us what it was like to have Dre on your team last year. You talked about the success and the way the team gelled. I'm sure Dre had a lot to do with that.
Well, he did. The stars aligned a little bit because he had a solid freshman year, was injured 2 years ago. Last year, with COVID, the entire nation got a blanket year, and you didn't use a year of eligibility, so that's why he's back for a 3rd year. But he had just a steady, consistent year and really picked it up towards the end. When I told you we beat Ancilla, who was previously unbeaten, ranked number 1, he had a ton of points and put on a show down there. 37. I figured he'd remember. And then he also was all-national tournament team. So he played great basketball down the end, but he did it with the help of his teammates. And we had 6 guys coming back that averaged from 8 points to 14, 15 points. That's great depth. Brought in a couple transfers that will add to that depth. So we're pretty excited with that.
That's great. Now, Dre, what are your thoughts on kicking off the season and picking up where you left off? What are your goals for the season and beyond?
My goals is to get back to Danville and come back with the #1 trophy. I'm really looking forward to this year because, last year we built a real strong bond. So just building on that, it'd be real fun to play with my brothers again.
That's great. Now, you're from the Detroit area. You could have played anywhere. Why did you choose Mott?
I chose Mott because of this guy right here. Those 4 national championships, and he was one of the only coaches who made me feel at home on my visit. So it was only right that I came here.
Well, you made the right choice. Now, Coach, you're getting ready to kick off your 31st season. You have a long legacy of outstanding coaching and mentoring, and that carries on and includes your assistant coaches. This year you have Carl Jones returning for his 27th season, Kevin Tiggs in his 4th season, and then you have Yusuf Harris back on your staff. So tell us about your coaching staff and what they mean to this program.
Well, they've been very loyal. That's the thing about coaches is they're not guys that agree with everything I do. They're not yes guys. They'll tell me if they think I might have made a mistake or I did this or did that, and I appreciate all that. But beyond that, we have great respect for each other. Yusuf played for me. Kevin Tiggs played for me. I'm talking to another guy right now to help us. He's from Detroit. He's a former player. Hopefully he'll jump on board to help us. And then, like he mentioned the word family. We are a family here at Mott. And got great support, but these guys are loyal. They're loyal, and they kind of keep me grounded. When you have former players playing for you or coaching with you, that's one stat you didn't bring up earlier. And all the wins and all those things are great. Championships are great. But what I feel most proud of in my coaching 30 years is we've had over 120 young men like Andre here that have moved on and played at colleges and universities all over the country. High levels, from the high major level, Michigan State, Ohio State, Florida State, to mid-majors. Kevin Tiggs went to East Tennessee State University. Yusuf Harris, you mentioned, went to Wayne State, where I've had about 8 players play over my time. So 120 of those people reached their dreams and goals. And I feel like we have a good number of these guys on this team that if they continue to work hard, take care of their graduate degree type things, they'll have great opportunities too. And I can add, not say 120 anymore. I want to get up to the 130s and just keep helping these young people make an impact, keep helping them get to that next level, and then that's what kind of keeps me going. Is I'm more proud of that than anything else. Is you help them reach their dreams and goals. When I was their age, coaches made a big impact in my life, and it was not even just on the court type things. They took me to my first Michigan State football game, basketball game, Piston game as a young kid coming out of Lansing. That made quite an impact. They did more than just coach me on the court. And these were volunteer coaches. These were some pretty good high school coaches, and I got to play for some pretty good college coaches too, and in my past. So I took a little bit away from everything, and that's what I feel good about. And I don't know if that answers the question.
That was a great answer. That was a great answer. Now, I understand from when you first became the coach at Mott, sounds like Yusuf was on that original team, and he played a part in you actually accepting the role, and you came back for the interview kind of unannounced, and then next thing you know, we're here 31 years later. It was
That's pretty accurate. What happened is I wanted to get some interview experience. I had not really interviewed. And I wasn't sure about Flint, at the time. I living and growing up in Lansing, playing basketball at Central Michigan University. I really had only been through Flint a few times, but I wanted to I was volunteering at my high school after I got done playing overseas. I was volunteering at my high school. I was volunteering that's Lansing Waverly at Lansing Community College. So I had 2 practices a day. 4 games a week, wasn't getting paid anything, and I thought that was the time of my life because I was still actually working out with the teams playing, And it was fun. And so I just wanted to get some interview experience. I came here and they offered me the job. And I declined it. And part of there's a true story behind this is I didn't know much about Flint, and that's right where when Roger and Me came out, the movie. So the night before I came up here, I watched that movie, and I'm thinking, whoa. And it wasn't a great piece on Flint and the area. It was so I kind of didn't have a great attitude coming in. I did have a good interview, and they offered it, and I turned it down. And about 7 weeks later, back in Lansing, I had asked somebody if they had filled that job yet, and they said, no, they haven't. So I drove up here, and they had a volleyball game. School had already started, so they had a volleyball game. I found the athletic director. I asked them to show me the weight room, which they didn't have one at the time. It was just one little machine in a room not too far from here. And I said to him, but coming into the gym that day, Yusuf Harris was in the lobby, another young man named Mark Heron. They were sitting right in the lobby, and they just looked at me, didn't know who I was. They said, would you be our coach? I must have looked like a coach back then. I don't know what I look like now. But they said, would you be our coach? And I went and asked, told the AD at the time, if you're still looking, I think I'll take the job. It kind of touched my heart that they just wanted anybody. And that was my first head coaching experience. I commuted from Lansing my first 2 years. Did part-time work here, got hired in full-time, and the rest is history. It's been a good ride, and our facilities are as good as there is in the Midwest. The people in Flint are tremendous. The support that I've gotten, the friends that I've made over the years, it's been fun to where every day that I come into work, I enjoy it. Every day's different, but I enjoy it.
Oh, that's great. Now, Dre, you've got a tough game on the schedule. Looks like you've got 5 home games coming up. What's the keys that you're looking for here on Thursday night against Owens College in that first probably third of the season? What are you planning for here in the next couple of weeks?
Really just planning on keeping our poise and staying under control because, things could get a little bit wild when we just adrenaline running, just happy to be back out there. But staying under control is just our main focus right now.
Coach, are there advantages to getting some tough games early on in the season to help you? You mentioned last year the challenges that you faced and you hit your kind of stride down the stretch. Is that kind of your blueprint for success, get some tough games in and get the team heading in the right direction?
Yeah, and we've already traveled in the preseason. We've played some pretty good competition, traveled a long way. Ames, Iowa was the first trip in a jamboree, they call them. We played DMAC, and these are preseason scrimmages, but we played DMAC, and that's the team that knocked us off last year. I mean, we didn't get anything, but we beat them pretty good this year in the preseason. And then we went to Rockford, and struggled a little bit. I thought the guys kind of played for themselves more, so there's going to be some growing pains early. It's hard for us to get a schedule together. A lot of teams, because of our success, won't play us, but the ones will. Like Lansing's got a good rivalry with us, and the state of Michigan's got such good junior college basketball. It ranks up there with anybody in the country. But once we get to past the preseason, and I try to schedule as many home games as I can because, you'll come to Mott and you'll get close to 1,000 fans, where you go to some of these schools and you might only have a couple hundred, if that, and half of them are Mott fans. So it's a great college basketball experience for not just us, but for the other team too, because they'll play in front of somebody. All these kids want to play at a 4-year level. Our environment's very, very close to what a 4-year level would be.
Well, that's great. Well, any other thoughts before you kick off the season this week? You ready to go?
I'm ready. I mean, I'm sure he is. I told the guys I didn't like them coming in today a little later than they normally do, especially some of the key ones. They've been coming in early, getting in work and what have you, and I don't want them to get complacent. I don't want them to be satisfied. And like I said, there's going to be some great basketball here, but all through the year. I just hope we can stay away from that COVID mess and we can get back to normal as best possible.
Well, that's great. Well, Coach Schmidt and Dre, I thank you for coming into the Bears Den. Good luck this week and throughout the season. Personally, I'm honored to be a part of it. I thank you for your time, and be sure to tune in next week to the Bears Den for our next episode. Thank you very much. Good job, guys.